The pads go on for the Cincinnati Bengals tomorrow, and we just wrapped up what's really the first block of training camp, and that's the ramp-up period, where the players and coaches have been going through the installs and putting things in place as they try to get ready for these padded practices that Zach Taylor said are really when you can get a feel of some of those position battles. And there's going to be a lot of interesting battles going on over the next couple of weeks as they get ready for their joint practices and the preseason games. And to get us ready for some of the padded practices and what to look for, I had a chance to talk to Bengals safety coach Jordan Kovacs about the safety room that looks a little bit different for the Bengals this year. The team acquired Geno Stone in free agency and brought back a familiar face in Vonn Bell, and those two guys right now appear to be the starters, but behind them is Jordan Battle, who got thrusted into a starting position last year, and they believe that being around Vonn Bell and Geno is really going to help Jordan Battle take the next step. But as for how that group is gelling together and what that defensive backs unit is going to look like for the Cincinnati Bengals, here's my interview with Jordan Kovacs. So this safety room looks a little bit different than last year. Can you just tell me a little bit about how Vonn has been, and then we'll get into Geno, but just overall how your safety room has been?
Yeah, so it's nice to have Vonn back. It's kind of like riding a bike for him. He was here for obviously several years before, and the scheme hasn't changed that much. So it's good. We have a good mixture of having a vet like Vonn, and then having some young guys too, so he can help show him the ropes. And he hasn't missed a beat, so he's great to have in the room.
I know you guys don't put the pads on until tomorrow, but what have you been able to gather about Geno Stone in the couple of months that he was here in the off season to the first week of practice?
Well, you can tell he's played a lot of ball. He's just very fundamentally sound. He's seen a lot of football. He's got a really good feel, and he's kind of flexible. He can play in the post. He can play in the box, and he's just very fundamentally sound. He's a good communicator, and I have very high expectations for him.
Are you able to pick up, when everybody talks about what you guys are getting with Geno and having seen him pick off Burrow last year, the first thing they say is the ball hawks, and then the 7 interceptions last year. Are you able to, based off of still limited out here to some degree without pads, are you able to get a feel for his presence in terms of being able to take the ball away?
Yeah, absolutely. That was one of the things that intrigued us of him in the offseason, and he's just such an instinctive player. He plays off his instincts, whether he's in the post or in the box, and he's one of those guys that's always trying to hunt the ball.
What about Jordan Battle? Obviously, we all got to see a little bit of what he can be when he was thrusted into that starting role, but now, with Vonn and Geno, there's still a little bit of a battle there and what his role is going to be. What do you see the next step for Jordan Battle being?
Yeah, having a guy like Vonn in the room, this is only going to be great for Jordan's career because Vonn's just such a presence leadership-wise. He can help show a young guy like Jordan the ropes. Jordan had a solid rookie year, and he's made some big strides going into this year. So competition's been great, and I have very high expectations of Jordan going forward as well.
And then when you look at the defensive backs group as a whole, how do you feel like with some of I know Vonn is familiar with a lot of guys, but how do you feel like the group is gelling with a lot of potential new pieces, whether it be Dax or DJ starting and Geno and Vonn? It's a little bit of a new group to some degree. So how do you feel like everybody is gelling together?
Yeah, it's obviously very fresh, but that's kind of exciting at times too. So the communication's been great, and that's kind of one of the things that we've harped on since day one is communication's got to be top notch, and they've been doing a great job of that. The guys have all been in their playbook, and we're just slowly going through installs right now. They all have been picking it up well. It's been a smooth start so far.
What has been Lou's message, and as a defense, obviously you want to correct a lot of what you guys weren't able to do last year, but it's still a new year. So what has been the defensive message, especially in the defensive backs meeting room as you guys get ready for this season?
Communication, I would say, is number one, right? From day one, from the jump, we've just said, hey, we can't have any busts on the back end. If you bust on up front, it's a gain of 6 or 7 yards. If you bust on the back end, it's a touchdown. And, so that's one of the things we wanted to iron out right away. And I look at the safety group as we're the quarterbacks of the back end. And so that was one of the things that we really wanted to improve on. And, so far so good through 4 or 5 days of practices. Then physicality, in the box, just understanding your fit, crack, replace, whatever it is, just having a presence and understanding your fit up front. So really limiting explosives because of communication and because of our physicality and run fit wise.
Last year, Tyson Anderson was kind of the star of preseason before he got injured. Who is someone, whether it be a safety or corner, that's caught your eye that you think would be a good person to keep your eye on through the preseason?
I like that. I'll give one of my guys a shout out. I think I've got high expectations for Dejon Anthony. I think he's a guy that's going to get a lot of reps, and he can use as many reps as he can. But he's competitive. He's tough. He wants to be coached, and he wants to be out there. He's a guy that is very competitive. So I think I would expect him to make some plays here in preseason.
Awesome. Thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you.